does this on her spare time, and she's sacrificing this to be away from her children and her family to come over here and help us. And she's doing an amazing job, and she's extremely intelligent as far as what we're supposed to be doing and how we're supposed to be doing it. And we want to get it right.
Thank you for doing that.
You guys are very welcome.
Appreciate
So,
that.
you know, there's a lot of kudos going to this lady here
Absolutely.
for doing what she's doing. And I would like to see us have a good set of rules. You know,
Absolutely.
we've been struggling with our ordinances for a long time. And we're gonna have to get that straightened out. And we're gonna work on that. We have to get us a clerk. We have to get our office organized first. Then we have to work on a set of rules. And then once we get that, we'll proceed on.
And proceeding forward, have we given any thought to changing passwords on computer, changing the locks on the doors, or?
I've changed the locks on the door. We've changed all the passwords. All that has been accomplished.
Great.
The signatures on the checks. all
Yeah,
of
the
that's been
signatures
changed.
on checks, all that has been secured.
Right. Thank you.
And I got our city attorney, he's been very helpful in making sure that everything that we're doing is legal and right.
Great.
So, yes.
Whose decision was it to not have a zoning committee?
Um,
Was that
Council.
Shirley's doings?
No, it's councils.
I think the council probably made the decision. There were some people who resigned and quit, and then when that happened, things just we just put a stop to it. Things weren't going very well, so.
It's my understanding, excuse me,
Go ahead.
that a zoning committee, council, whatever, has to be approved by you guys, the council. That it's kind of an appointed deal, it's not like a voluntary thing, and am I wrong in that, or proceeding forward, if we want to create that type of position?
Well, and that's something we'll have to look at in the future.
Okay,
Right now, we're in the middle of
right,
trying to get the mayor, and I know that this is part of the process, but we will be looking at a committee to do this.
and that's an elected, that's an elected committee by you
Well,
guys,
Just
correct?
volunteer.
It,
Sign up for it.
It's appointed.
it'll be appointed,
Okay,
Yeah.
and as mayor, then I will be part of that, as well as the council, and whom the council, if you guys would like to volunteer, then that's what the
Seems to
council.
me,
has
usually
to say.
there's a council member that's part of that group as well.
Yes, yes.
okay, that was my understanding, I
Yes.
just wanted to, moving forward,
And that is just, hopefully there's gonna be a lot of changes, not major changes, but changes that'll, for the better. We're looking at making a lot of the paperwork go away and everything, putting a lot of this online, which will mean having a better printer system. And something that works for us and to scan all this material that we have so that you guys don't have to put in a request for it. You can get online and look all this information up.
A couple of ideas that have come up on zoning and ordinances and that type of thing is, one is to take a town that's similar in size and population and whatnot, and having had ordinances and that redone very, very recently, and looking at their ordinances and maybe not reinventing the mousetrap
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah.
making it our own.
absolutely.
That would cut the time, because this is a very time consuming
Absolutely.
ordeal.
absolutely.
And I don't know how anybody in the crowd feels about that, but that's one of the things that I've actually toyed with. And we have a copy of, I think is it Custer's? Forsyth's.
Forsyth's ordinances.
That's
Go ahead.
basically what Hope had originally started off with. She had several towns and she had them all printed off. And that committee was going through those
Were
and
they?
forming them all to, it's the same deal.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
Well, and that's something that
Is-
our attorney is looking at. right
Forsyth
now.
just had theirs redone. I mean, totally redone and spent a ton of time on it. And so
Yeah, I think that
we're
makes
toying
a lot
with
of
that
sense.
idea. Another one is, there's a, I think you brought it up, there's a, what is it, a
It's
state?
it's a company, no, it's not affiliated with any one
Okay.
state, it's a company called Municode, and that's what they do, they take your town ordinances, they go through them, they add your new ordinances, it's called recodification, and they check it against itself for contradictions and against Montana code or the state's code, wherever they might be, for contradictions, and then what you get at the end is a very nice, clean set of ordinances, and you have one ordinance that you pass that makes that new book your ordinance book.
Yeah.
So,
However, we're getting a quote as to what that might cost versus this other cost. So, because I know that can be very expensive.
However,
We're looking
sometimes
at-
in the long run, it might pay for itself, so
Well,
it's
yeah,
good
but-
to look at,
Right now, we may be looking at, $15,000-$20,000. I know,
yeah,
I think the
The other way might-
goodwill that we would get from the public on having
a good set of
structure
ordinances.
would far outweigh what
the
we're gonna
money.
end up paying for this if it's reasonable.
if it's
Yes.
reasonable,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Tim, do you know, this is completely out of zoning, so forgive me. Did Fromberg qualify for anything in the CARES Act as far as PPE or anything for our fire department? Because I spoke with a lady in Red Lodge today, and the clerk in Red Lodge, Janae, and she was explaining to me how they came through, they got everything through the CARES Act and were able to come through and redo the whole clerk thing that was paid for, and she had questioned if Fromberg and if we had received any of that, and I said, not that I'm aware of.
do you want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
What Fromberg is gonna get back from the CARES Act is all gonna come from the county. The only thing that was really presumptively approved through the CARES Act funding was public safety. So police, ambulance, fire, you don't have any of that that's associated with the town of Fromberg alone. You contract with the sheriff. You should be, I've heard Angela and Sheriff McQuillan discuss the fact that the CARES Act funding that they got for the sheriff's department and for their dispatch, they're going to funnel that back down appropriately to the ones who are contracted with them and to all of us towns that pay into the dispatch fees. So Fromberg should see some of that money. It's just a little delayed because the county's gotta sort it all out
Right.
first before it funnels back down. But yes, it was, I know in Bridger it was very significant for us. I assume it was very significant for Red Lodge.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Fromberg's portion will be, but it should definitely help.
Do they dictate dramatically what you have to spend those monies on?
The jury's still out on that.
Yeah. Yeah,
They-
it's
what I-
pretty big.
Yeah, what I was told from the auditors in Bridger is because it was public safety money, we could spend it on public safety for sure. But if I wanted to spend it on streets, that was a little iffier and they asked that I hold off. So I would say
think public safety would
wise, you
come
can
into
still spend
account
it.
on Missouri for sure.
Yes.
I
Right?
could get
We-
killed on that damn street.
We wondered the same thing. Shouldn't your cops drive on nicely paved streets? Like that should work, right? So I don't know. There's still a lot of unknown on what you can and can't spend it on. But there is no time frame. That's the nice thing. There's not a time that you have to have it spent by. So
That's nice.
there should be something coming.
Thank you, because I didn't know how to answer her when she asked me that today. and
Yeah,
I was
she may not
like,
realize that you guys contract with the county for your
you
police.
know, yeah,
Cause that's where most of that funding came from, is all public safety,
yeah, okay.
so.
Okay.
Thank you
Mhm.
very much. And do you wanna come and work over here instead of Bridget?
She is.
Yeah,
No, I
only
mean,
in
like,
the capacity that I am right now.
Full-time, you know?
Right.
I promised that I would not steal
Could
anybody.
we raise your public utility,
Yeah.
charges,
You know what?
significantly?
If it's as friendly as this all the time, sure, I'll pay an extra $5.
Okay, do we have
Here.
any other
Yeah,
comments?
face.
I'd just like to say that I appreciate Tim stepping up in this capacity. I hope it wasn't just because he had to, because he was the president of the council and he didn't have a choice, but I'm thinking that it isn't. I think he's got his heart in what he's about to partake in. And I wish him all the best. I would encourage him to be open to suggestion by not only the council but the townsfolk. I would ask him to run the town like a business, which I think he will. I would hope that he would spend less than we make. And I would hope that he has a vision for the town to be better when he's done than when he took over. That's all I have.
Thank you.
And that being said, I'll second that nomination of Tim Nottingham for mayor.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Do you wanna be sworn in right now? I have it ready,
Yeah, we'll do it now.
and then I will get it filed.
Okay.
You can just stay there and raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and the Constitution of the State of Montana,
and that I will just discharge the duties
that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of the office with fidelity.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You can sign right there.
Fireworks or something?
I will file that with the county and you will be official.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you much. I'd like to go from here so I can pull it out, I would have it made. But no, I think that, I think we're on the right path. I do want to listen to what the town has to say. And I want to make things happen. And that's part of it. And I know that we have streets that need worked on. I know that we have infrastructure that needs worked on, but we need to save some money. And however, we do need to spend money in order to make it a safe place to live. So, but as a business, yes, that's the goal. And so far, if you look at our budget, it's pretty good. So, thank you, Joe. Okay. Do we have any old business?
Sorry.
Do you have something that you'd like to?
I have a question. Jay, did you, look into the Granger, yeah, stops?
Oh, the parking ones?
Mhm.
Yeah, we looked into all that stuff. I think we're gonna go with that, the concrete option.
The concrete option? And how much are those costing and timeline approximately on those?
I should know this by now. I think they're $45 a piece or something. Give or take, so
Is
it's
that the smaller stops or the bigger ones?
the bigger ones.
Like the yellow one on the corner?
Yeah. Well, they'd be more, I think, like the one in front of the,
Post office?
nope, go down a little farther.
The art gallery?
Yeah,
They're gonna be staked in the ground
yeah,
with rebar?
yep. The stakes are $1.50 a piece, I think. And I was thinking about just getting a whole 20-foot stick.
And just cut it yourself.
Yeah, and just do it
Yeah.
that way. So I think it's somewhere like $2,700.
And hopefully within the next week or so that we'll be able to start this project.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go down there this week
Okay,
to get those.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if we get them in now, then this summer we can get them painted, and I think it'll really help your parents and the,
They ought to be able to paint them over in the shop right now.
I like when you do
That's,
Yeah.
I've seen them twice though, and those things are heavy.
yeah, they are
I
heavy.
really hate to see a
They're-
workers' comp claim.
Over 300 pounds
Yeah.
apiece, so.
Yeah.
And Jay's working on a set of forklifts so that we don't actually have to
Lift them.
lift
Oh
them,
my gosh, yeah. Good.
so that we can do it mechanically instead of, work smart instead of hard.
That's right.
Before we move off of the mayor, here, I think we need to appoint a president of the council as well.
You can't take action on something that's not on the agenda, but we can do that at the next meeting. I can make sure and get it on there.
Yeah.
And when are we gonna open up for another council person?
That will happen right away. You should try to get your new council person in and then appoint a president after that. So you have
So
all
we
four.
can post that right away then for new council person?
Mhm. Yep, the vacancy is as of today, so we can post it, I don't know if I'll have time tomorrow, but in the next couple of days I can get it posted.
Okay, I would hope that we'd have a lot of people applying.
Have we had many people apply for the clerk position?
We have had several, but I'm gonna wait till we get down
Okay.
a little bit and then
I
I'd
can
like to
update on
discuss that.
after mine, too.
Okay,
Thanks, Jay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
We'll good, we'll work on that.
Okay. New business, we have MMI property renewal. And if you guys have a chance to look at that, I don't know, Christian, would you like to explain that to everybody,
I will.
please?
So this is something that happens every year with MMIA. They usually open it up around January and they give you till the end of March to get it completed. And what they want you to do is take a good look at everything you're insuring, your vehicles, your mobile equipment, and your locations for building value and contents value. They just want you to take a good look at it, reassess it, make sure you're happy with it, because what you choose now, the values, that's what they use to decide their premiums for next year. So it's based on the amount of value that you're insuring is how your premium is decided. So if you guys aren't ready to make a decision tonight, that's fine. We could do it at the March meeting, because again, we have till March 31st. Just to explain regarding the mobile equipment and the vehicles, the difference between replacement cost and stated value. Replacement cost is a value that MMIA determines. Say you don't have one, but say you had a police car, a small SUV. They're gonna ask that you insure that for $51,000 because that's what they deem a replacement cost on that type of vehicle. So if you choose the replacement cost, you also have to choose the value that MMIA puts on it. On the flip side, if you choose stated value, you get to pick the value that you insure it for. However, if there's a total loss, that's all you'll get. So if you insure a truck for $2,000 and it's a total loss, they're only gonna give you $2,000 even if it costs you $5,000 to replace it. So, however, those are charged differently. So of course you're gonna pay a little more premium wise for replacement cost than you will for stated value. And then in regards to the locations, you have a building value and a contents value. You wanna make sure that both of those are up to date. And the biggest difference is a building value, everything that would normally come with that building should be in the building value. So if you were to insure a home, you don't insure the toilet and the kitchen sink separately because a home comes with those items. But you do insure the furniture and, you know, stuff like that. So that's kinda your difference between contents value and building value.
So the line item where it says new shop, is that like their shop, the town works?
Yeah, I would assume.
I'm guessing at the.
16 South Billings Avenue, is that the new
That's, I
shop?
didn't get the address.
Yeah, I don't know, these are
Well,
foreign to me because I don't live there, I don't know where Billings Avenue is.
No, I didn't know that.
It's the highway.
So it should be just
Highway
town
is
shop.
Billings Avenue.
Oh,
It says new shop, 16 South Billings Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you guys were just kind of looking at this,
Some are years old, but newer than the old shop.
Okay.
That was a place that Tucker sold or what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
I have one thing on that, and I didn't look over it really careful, but first of all, the park equipment is listed in the wrong location, it's listed at the baseball field. And that, it should be listed in the park, not at the baseball field.
Do you know what line that is? What?
No, I think they have it listed at, like,
It's the first item on the locations.
yeah,
Park building
park building
concessions?
Yeah.
it says baseball.
Concessions?
it's
Wait,
the,
not at the
the,
baseball
it's,
field?
no, the equipment, the playground equipment.
Oh,
Park plays at the middle one.
The playground equipment or whatever.
Oh, park play equipment.
Yeah, and it's listed at the, it should be at the park and.
It is, so the territory is where it resides.
Okay,
So the baseball field is insured for $15,000 and where it is at the park building concessions. That, I should have actually eliminated that second column, that's an
Okay.
MMIA thing. Not every place in town is listed, so that's kind of a,
you guys need to change that though, because I looked at park equipment, man, you guys aren't even gonna touch it for that, what you've got it listed as.
so park play equipment at $6,000.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's pretty low.
it's
I would agree
way
with that.
higher than that.
Yeah.
somewhere around $20,000.
Yeah,
Yep.
for about 25.
Exactly, sorry,
Well, you know, it doesn't cost us that much to insure this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, MMIA is a
And if
pretty
we're-
good deal.
Yes, so if we get these things back, and I was, you know, been kind of looking at it, but,
And
yeah,
the,
the contents in City Hall, there's no way we would touch it for $20,000.
yeah, and then the other deal is it's not listed on there because it was donated, but you might wanna consider that awning in the park, insuring that.
You know, that's brand new things, couldn't we? Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah,
It's, so that's not the park shelters?
Yeah, is that the park shelter item?
That would be
Like
considered
5,000.
part of the
I thought
we're
those
doing
were
both
considered,
parks together.
if you're doing, but I thought those were considered the, like the
There's
dugouts,
two parks.
when it
Yeah,
said
you've
park
got the park
shelter.
right up here, and then you've got the baseball park.
Oh, okay.
That's
Two
why I
different
was
locations.
saying that it goes to the
Yeah.
park
I don't know
itself,
if the
not the
baseball
baseball
park
park.
actually has an address.
Well, they have 304 Park Drive.
That would be the first park. Right on the corner.
So this isn't the right address for the
The
baseball field, you
baseball
don't think?
park would be, it's another street over.
What, the street?
It's still on, I don't know,
That's
Park
still-
Drive goes that far down.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, it's park shelter.
I don't
It
see
does
Shirley's
have a
log
log
cabin on
cabin.
here either.
so Park Street's
And that
a
should be-
Yeah.
valid address for the baseball field or
yeah,
not?
you're right, that should be on there. We need this log cabin also.
That's on the highway property.
But it's
Yeah,
the
but it's
city's
the-
property,
It's the
she
city's
donated it to us.
property, yeah, but it is located on
It
the
would be
highway.
on Billings Avenue.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So
It
add
is
the
not.
log cabin.
Yeah,
The log
What do you
cabin,
wanna insure that for?
you couldn't replace it really.
So that's the thing with things that are essentially priceless because of their historic value.
Right.
Is there a point to insuring them? Are you gonna rebuild it?
Well, I
You're
would
just
say
gonna
that
pay
if
to
we
insure
insured
it
it
and
and
get
it burned
nothing
down, then we would look at another structure there, maybe. Cause there are,
It's leased from the state that,
yes.
She has a state
Or
roof.
maybe that money, if something happened, would go into,
Yeah, but if your roof blew off, you could at least put a new roof on.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's what I would look at insuring it for, I wouldn't look at,
Yeah.
and
I
that's.
don't know, if we insured it for $20,000, would $20,000, that would just about repair the roof.
Yeah,
I don't think it'd take that much.
I don't know, have you called a roofer lately?
Yeah, they would do.
They're not cheap.
And of course, we would have to
Is that
have a
the
certified, you know,
general consensus?
Because you're on state or city, you have to go with a licensed contractor.
contracting, yeah. Is that something you guys would think $20,000 would be
Yeah.
all right for the log cabin?
So what about the old train depot then? Am I missing it?
That's insured through the historical, well, that's the historical society, they take care of their own on that
Gotcha.
type deal.
And is the fire department also, I was looking at that.
Do you guys own the fire department building?
No,
I don't think we do we?
cause we're a rural fire department.
They're a rural fire
Oh,
Yeah,
department.
so you wouldn't insure
That's why
something.
it's 0.
Okay,
It's on here?
yes,
Yeah.
it is. Number 3 on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be why it's 0. Yeah, if you guys don't own that, I will just remove it.
Yeah, anything that's zeros, I would think.
It's-
Who owns it?
The county. Owns the fire department.
It's okay to have items on here and have them as $0. It's letting MMIA know that you have this, but you're choosing not to insure it for anything. And we're actually, when this is all said and done, we will sign a $0 memo, letting them know that we realize anything insured for $0 is not going to have a payout should you suffer a loss.
Okay.
So it's helpful for MMIA to see that you own it, cause at some point, it's been a couple of years, so they gotta be getting ready to do it again, they will physically come here and drive around your town and come to the clerk and say, I see this is out there, but it's not on your list, would you like to insure it, or let's add it to the list if you wanna leave it at 0. So it's good to just have everything on the list, even if it's $0.
And what do you do like on the skid steer and the backhoe? I mean, they would be very expensive to try to replace.
They're at replacement cost.
They are all at replacement cost, and so those values that are there were values determined by MMIA at a minimum probably last year.
Okay,
And I know that they changed their values for this year, but I'm sorry, I don't know offhand what any of those are.
percentages of,
But by putting replacement costs, like I said, you're agreeing to insure it for whatever MMIA says the
Okay.
stated value
so
is.
if they deem that incorrect, they'll change it?
They will,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So that page is pretty much done. Do we still have all these vehicles other than the Tahoe?
Yeah, that's removed.
Yeah, I isolated it for removal, I just haven't gone in there and done it yet because I was gonna do everything at once.
Those look pretty realistic.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Well, I would, yeah. But on page 1, Dave, I was thinking here on the contents value of City Hall, it would take us more than $20,000 to replace the computers and printers and,
I don't know, that printer is about a $200 printer.
well, yes, but I'm hoping
Which I'm
that we
about
can
to
get a
throw out
better
the
one.
window,
Especially after today, don't.
especially after
If it
today,
acts like it did today, it'd probably be outside.
while it's raining.
Well, let's not put any value on it, and then she won't be in trouble when she throws it in her.
Alright. You guys are lucky you have all this paper in front of you tonight. It did not wanna cooperate.
And I think we ought to increase the contents value.
Yeah, how much do we have in computer software alone? I mean,
The software is cloud-based, you're not gonna lose that
Oh,
in
you're
a
not gonna lose
fire.
that.
Yeah, we back up each night and then, we're
I
backed
would-
up off-site,
I
so
don't know, I
you're
would
not
think
gonna
that
lose
we
your
ought to have at
software,
least
but
30
you'd have
it's
to replace your
listed-
computer.
Yeah, it's listed at 20. So if we raised it to 30,
What, in reality, if it burned down, what would you be losing? Tim?
Well, it's, what we would have to, we would have money in place.
Fine chairs.
Well,
These
if,
fine
I
chairs,
got
that's
10
right.
bucks.
if the house burnt down, if it burnt down, we could not, for $132,000, we could not rebuild this building.
Well, then change the building, but not the contents.
Did
We're talking about the contents.
they
That's
say
true.
pay this 20,
And then the
give you
contents,
20 or give
We
you-
have only
you have to
$20,000
list everything
contents.
that you
And,
lose.
and in
What do
reality,
you have? You have a computer and a
We
printer.
have computers in the judge's
Okay.
office. We have, and I'm thinking there's a computer set up in the, where the sheriff's at.
I didn't see a computer in there, there is a printer in there.
They generally bring their own laptops.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's just a printer in the police
And then
one.
we have computers and printers in the front office along with files and files and.
One thing I
they
could
don't
look
pay you for
in,
paper.
into for you as well, MMIA does have a sheet of suggested contents values for certain types of buildings.
Yeah.
I could get that from them or dig it out from somewhere and come back to you next month with, or even send it out to you guys to look at between
Yeah.
now and the next meeting as well. If you want a jumping off
Yeah, let's
point
do
to
that.
help you
Yeah.
That way we
decide
got a
those.
better idea of what
And hopefully we can get this resolved and voted on
next.
At the March meeting, yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Because once
If
you've
anything, I'd
decided,
say
it
the
will.
building value
Most
needs
of them are
adjusted.
broken in there,
Oh,
actually.
The building value needs
Yeah.
adjusted.
And if you guys have that now, what you want it to be, I'll update it for the spreadsheet for the next time. So I don't know if they really have building
At least
values.
150.
The files, they just-
I mean, if we ended up, if we had to buy a building, we could.
Why don't
sell
you
it on
take your
for 150.
measurements?
Pardon?
Why don't you take your measurements of the building, have Jay call a contractor and see what it costs to put up a steel building of that?
Like
Still
this?
building, but you still have to do everything inside.
Yeah, well, no, but they'll give you a ballpark,
Estimate.
it'll give you a ballpark deal to
Computer
start with.
replacement, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Jay, if you wanna take a few minutes sometime this week, next week.
The sheet of 7/16 OSB is $40 a sheet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be
Yeah,
8.
now's not a good time to look at building prices.
But it gives you an idea, a realistic idea.
Well, realistic to rebuild is probably close to 200,000. But, I don't know. A lot of money. You know we're not gonna burn it down.
Can I at least get a fire truck out first?
Right.
Just one.
Can I hold the hose, please?
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, so just, I'll try to dig that out and send it out to everybody in the next week or so.
Okey doke, water meter discussion. Have you guys thought about the water meter?
My opinion is right now, till we get our financials completely straight, rather than just buying a ton of meters right out the gates, I say we find out what our true bottom line is. But also I feel that from here on out, if we got an old meter and it tanks, it just should be automatically, the only replacement is what, a radio,
Right.
is the way I feel, is that
Yeah, they're not
instead of
gonna-
staying with the old one, just if it goes down in the meantime and treat it as a case by case, if elderly person on a structured income, if they need to work out a deal with the clerk, do it that way, but until we know exactly what we got to spend, I feel shooting in the dark.